Tide football radio voice, Chris Stewart.
They were impressive offensively doing it. I think that is something that Tide fans were excited to see once again, is the explosiveness that we saw many times over the last decade, especially for Alabama offense. You know, the teams had big play capability in Coach Saban's first half of his tenure, but it was more of just wearing you out. And we always talk about imposing their will. Normally you think of that on the defensive side, but Bama's offense did that for much of his tenure. The last few years, it didn't quite look the same. You had the explosiveness, which was great, but you didn't have as much consistency the last 2 to 3 years.
I'll have more in a moment.
Producing championship quality lumber is not an easy process, but at Everwood Preserving, it's our only process. Wood treated right. Everwood offers top-notch pressure-treated wood for decks, outdoor structures, commercial jobs, and more that you can build your reputation on. When it comes to quality, we're on the winning team. Visit your local Everwood dealer today and discover the difference for yourself. Everwood Preserving Incorporated, the official lumber of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
If you missed last night's edition of Crimson Tide Rewind, presented by the Alabama Department of Public Health, catch it on demand on the Alabama Insider Podcast, as well as a video replay on the CTSN YouTube page. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by Everwood. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
There you go. We're back. We're live, and we are brand new. It is Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond, welcome into the program on a Tuesday morning. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the phone lines. You can reach out to us on a Tuesday morning as we get you started in the college football season. The new AP poll will be out later this afternoon. The reason why it'll be out is because last night we capped off the college football season week 1, and lo and behold, number 10 Florida State becomes just the third FBS team in the last 45 years to lose its second straight game after being favored by double digits. This time Bill O'Brien, making his Boston College debut, dumps the Noles last night, 28-13, to cap off week 1 of the college football season.
Yep, 2 former Nick Saban assistants have trashed Florida State season. They will not be in the top 25, nor should they be. They are terrible. That is official. You can't live and die by the portal.
Yeah.
It's just like living and dying by bringing in junior college recruits. And it's not all DJ Uiagalele's fault, but he's certainly not, in my opinion, an NFL prospect. But, they're not good up front. They're not good on the line of scrimmage on the offensive or defensive lines. They got pushed around, and B.O.B.'s a smart football coach. Not nearly as bad as a lot of the Alabama fans think. And I love the Tide Nation, but he took a ton of heat that was unwarranted, because they hired a piss-poor offensive line coach who was his best friend and was a terrible fit for the college game, and you had Wild Turkey on defense. Okay, that's the reason Alabama, along with some injuries, didn't win the national championship in 2021, and you had to depend on people like Jaleel Worthless, Javon Moron, and a Jai Idiot,
right,
who weren't ready to play, and you could say some of that was on Holman Wiggins. So,
well, to your point, Florida State in the last 3 games,
yeah,
they have been outrushed 825 yards to 182.
Yeah, they can't run the football.
And they can't stop the run.
No, they can't. And, Bill O'Brien was smart. They watched the film from Georgia Tech, and he's got a quarterback a lot like Diego Pavia.
Yeah,
and
Tony Castellanos.
And who can move around and run the football. And they just dominated the line of scrimmage. When they went up 14-0, I think you could pretty much tell that Florida State was in big, big trouble.
Yeah.
And they weren't going to be able to flick a switch. And, Gene Williams, who I've had on this show many times from warchant.com, I watched their post-game show, and he always tells the truth. He thinks this has the potential to be one of the biggest flops in NCAA football history. And I'm going to tell you, I hate to bring up another painful memory for Alabama fans, but I know you remember it, Scott. It's called the year 2000.
Yeah.
When Alabama was number 3 in the country in the Rose Bowl.
They go out to UCLA. Yep. They go out to UCLA and just get flattened.
And they end up 3-9 and whatnot and end up
the end for Mike Dubose.
Yeah, and they end up with going from the number 3 in the country. Some people, even Tim Brando, picked them to play for the national championship or win it, and they end up, I believe 3-9, and he gets fired, and that was. Later that year was the monsoon game in Birmingham where Southern Miss won 21-0.
Yeah, I was at that game.
And that's when Dubose offered to resign after the game, but everybody knew he was done. They lost 9-0 at home to Auburn, and the season was just over, and his career was over at Alabama. And I don't think Norvell's is necessarily over, but they're just this FSU team is just in big, big trouble. They're not very good. And the 2 teams they lost to, I think, are bowl teams, but it's not. I don't think they're college football playoff contenders. And right now, man, there's just I just watching them last night. They don't have answers.
Well, they're 0-2 for the 3rd time in 5 seasons under Mike Norvell.
Yeah, and Norvell had 2 really good years back to back, and he got the raise. Now, could this be a Dan Mullen where everything just falls apart on you and you end up, gone?
Right.
I doubt it because look, when Alabama had Norvell on the radar, they never offered him anything. But remember, Jimmy Sexton got Norvell a raise to $10 million a year. So he's got a huge buyout. So, in Florida State, they're already not liking the league they're in. So
no, and the problem now is everyone says, well, you know what? They can come back and they can win the ACC championship. The problem their first 2 games out of the gate are ACC games. So not only are they 0-2, they're 0-2 in the league. So their playoff chances now have just been decimated.
They have no chances. Yeah. I mean, that's what that seal. But it also proved to me that B.O.B. can coach.
Yep.
Now, he's not for everybody, and I understand that Jalen Milroe didn't like him, and he was very abrasive. But, look, they averaged 40 points a game on offense when he was there. I know they didn't run the football as well as people wanted, but Brian Robinson still had a really good year, even though he got nicked up. And Bryce Young won the Heisman Trophy and became the first overall pick after the next year. With Bill O'Brien there, he flourished, okay? He would have never become the number 1 overall pick or the Heisman Trophy winner if the OC was bad. All right, now there was other parts of that coaching staff. Holman Wiggins was another issue because I don't think he did a great job developing wide receivers. And he did, and I think his last 2 to 3 years there, the recruiting kind of fell off at the position. So, again, there's a lot of factors that go into it, but I think B.O.B. can coach, and certainly he outcoached Mike Norvell last night because it looked like to me Florida State made no adjustments from the first game. They looked like it's the exact same football team, and the old Bill Parcells-ism, you are what you are.
Right.
And they're not very good right now, and Florida State has been so far the biggest fraud. Now, the Gators are right up there. Because that was horrendous. I thought it would be more competitive. And look, what did I say on the show? Is Cam Ward the real deal? He looked like it against Florida.
Well,
he was shooting fish in a barrel.
Well, we're going to get into some. We've got a lot of Kalen DeBoer sound. We've got a lot of Hugh Free sound to get through from yesterday.
But I will say before you finish your thought, I'm Brent Zverneman, my guy.
Yes.
He's got me sending in the power rankings every week for the SEC. I did not put Florida last, and that's all I'll say.
Well, a lot of Gator fans now are commenting because of what Billy Napier had to say yesterday.
Right.
Here is what Billy Napier had to say yesterday about the state of the Florida program.
Ultimately, a loss early can be a blessing if you don't waste it. And I think ultimately, one thing I can say is we have a group that's working hard. I do think that we have character. We got to go to work on the football part, and I think we got to become a more consistent team, and we have to execute better. And if we can focus on those things and not necessarily what some guy in his basement saying in, rural Central Florida on social media, then we got a chance to get better, right? So I think that's the key, but sometimes you deserve criticism, and I think that's one of those things I would say. I have no excuses, right? So we got to go get it fixed.
Well, I listened to Chris Doring on SEC this morning, yesterday.
Don't worry about some guy in his rural basement.
But no, this was even before that press conference. And Doring, of course, I was on the drive last week, but he was a guest. And let's just say that he thought Florida was going to win this game and was very confident they were better. And then the post reaction after this game, I really think there's a lot of Gator people that are thinking that, like, much like Florida State, that this may be a lost season. Now we'll see, but
their schedule does not ease up.
No, we already talked about how brutal it is.
It gets worse from here for them. They are. I don't think they're favored. They may be favored in one more game. That is versus Samford, and that is it.
I had a very good
only
friend.
Game that they are favored in to win the rest of the way.
I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to put it out there. I'm not going to throw him under the bus here, but I had a very good friend in the media that's extremely familiar with the Gators who called me on Saturday night on the way back from Tuscaloosa, and he said the Gators might beat Samford. And I stopped him. I said, now, wait a minute. Now, you didn't say would. You said might. And I said, if they don't beat Samford, Billy Napier won't make it to the press conference for the third, probably, or to the third game. They have to win that game.
According to ESPN's FPI now, they're favored to beat Samford 98%. The rest of the way,
right?
40% against A&M, 40% against Mississippi State,
wow.
42 against UCF.
Oh,
they only have a 5% chance of beating Georgia and Texas. 35% against LSU, who looked awful, by the way.
Well, they didn't look great. They didn't look as bad as Florida. I'll give them that.
And Ole Miss 20%, Florida State 26%. That Florida State game could be
loser leave town.
Yes,
I don't know. I don't want to say that about Norvell yet, but good Lord,
both of those teams could be. Both of those teams could be fighting for. I mean,
that game with Texas A&M is huge because it's going to be in the swamp. That game is they. And again, let's also preface this: Miami might be the best team. They look like the best team in the ACC the first week. Okay, now, but let's also understand something with Mario Cristobal. What has he done before? Like when he was at Oregon,
giving games away.
No, yeah, he beat Ohio State in the horseshoe. Remember, they were going to win the Pac-12, and which I think that they went on and did, but they were going to maybe be a playoff team, but they weren't because they go to Cal Berkeley and just absolutely look like they're asleep.
Yep.
So Miami, this ratchets things up because they by far and away look like the best team in the ACC because honestly, the ACC, North Carolina escaped against your favorite Minnesota, but it just hasn't been a great start for that league.
No.
I mean, Clemson, good God. I mean, Georgia is really good. They may be the best team in the country right now. But Clemson, I know they hung with them for a half, but Clemson's offense did not impress me at all. And part of that was Georgia defensively, but still not too impressed with Dabo's squad.
No, the Big Ten goes 16-1.
Yeah.
The SEC goes 13-2. The ACC goes let's see. I got to add. They go 14-5.
I thought they lost more than that, to be honest.
The Big 12 goes 14-2. Well, actually, the ACC would be 15-5.
Yeah.
They go 14-2. Does the Big 12? The SEC would be 13-3 because LSU lost. These are after Saturday's record, so LSU would have been 13-3. The Big Ten then would have been 17-1 because USC does get that win. All right, 7:13 on a Tuesday morning. Let's slip in Mark from Spring Hill real fast. Good morning, Mark.
Good morning, Mark.
Hey, morning, guys. I thought Alabama looked great. I just want to say that first. And I'm really impressed with our defensive coordinator. And I think we got the real deal. He reminds me of Kirby Smart back when he started there. And I think there'll be some comparisons with him over the next couple of years. I know it's just one game, But fundamentally, Alabama looked like the old Alabama. I know that's strange to say just after one game, but there's things to work on. But fundamentally, again, that's the best they've looked defensively since maybe 15.
I'd say 17, but that's my opinion.
Or 17. Yeah, they're just I mean, Wild Turkey, whoever you said was there. And real quick, just to get the rumor mill started, and I'll hang up, let someone else talk. Would Lane Kiffin take the Florida job? Because the guy at Florida is going to get fired at the end of this year. Would he leave Ole Miss to go to Florida? And I'll hang up and listen.
Yes, he would, but it just depends on if the Gators want him.
Right.
I mean, he certainly ran it up on Furman to try to impress a lot of people and scored 76 points. So
did Auburn.
Yeah. And
whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess we've got Jeff from the
we
Borough.
Bring Jeff in? I did not know we brought Jeff in.
Yeah. Jeff, are you there? You got us?
I'm here. How you doing, guys?
Good.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Jeff.
I just want to say Auburn run the score up to 73-3.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. What are these people? No, it's ridiculous. So it wasn't 13, it's about 9.5 and 2. When Chattanooga, I think Red Bank, Boy Buchanan would have gave Tennessee a better game, or Red Bank or Chattanooga Prep than playing Chattanooga Saturday. I mean, 69. We know Tennessee's going to run the score up. That's their MO. That's what they do. Tennessee's going to score. If they scored 90, they could have scored 100 if they wanted to. If they really wanted to score 100, they would have. Okay, and Nico Suave, 314 yards passing and a half. Whoopee! Against some FCS player of the week. Boy, whoopee! Boy, he really did something good, didn't he? Dang. Oh, come on. I mean, they shouldn't even be a win. They've got Middle Tennessee this weekend. I'm not saying we're going to play them any better. I know we won't give up 76. I don't think. At least I hope we don't. But now Middle Tennessee has survived Saturday night. They didn't start till about 8.
Yeah, they got stopped twice, Jeff. You guys played till midnight.
They were supposed to start at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
They didn't start till 8:30 because the weather was
right. Yeah,
they didn't finish till 12:15.
Right.
Finished. Okay, but they were down 25-24 with 66 seconds to go. And they scored with about, I think, 8, maybe, I'm trying to think, maybe 15 seconds or something like that to go 10, whatever it was, on a draw play. I don't know who called it. On a draw play they scored, 132-25 against the OVC team.
Yeah.
A long-time rival of theirs. So, I mean, they've got a lot of work to do, too. And Drew, what was this about Miami? Did you really think Miami was going to beat Florida?
I did not. I had the Gators winning a close one.
You bashed Miami for the last 20 years. Well, Chris can't do this and can't do that. I mean, last year been taking a knee bashing them. And also, how about them Aggies? How's that 12th man doing? What are they going to do today? How about that? And how about Brian Kelly? I believe it's 0-3 in openers. He might win an opening football game. And Florida State might be pretty good. Maybe they can bring Bobby Bowden back. But he might have a good coach. They might have. Maybe they can beat. Maybe they can beat Florida State College for women. Think they can beat them? Maybe Doak Campbell will come back and help them. They need a football program help. I can tell you that. Doak at the big time stadium. Doak Campbell. They got seats covered up. They said we got to cover up for renovation. If you cover them up right, nobody will see that junky football team you got. And Florida neither. I guess Billy Napier is about 1 foot out of the ground. Is he going to be finished by halfway through the season?
Yeah.
So Florida's got a problem. Maybe Miami is the best team in Florida. We'll find out.
They are right now.
Jeff, thanks,
hang in there, guys.
Thanks for the phone call. Yeah. Unfortunately, you can't bring Bobby Bowden.
Well,
back.
no, but I mean, Tennessee's got NC State. I thought he said
Middle Tennessee actually has Ole Miss.
They do. They have an SEC team. They're playing Ole Miss.
Kentucky is opening up SEC play this weekend.
Right. South Kakalaki?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, that's who I got 16th. I don't care if they won. Good Lord.
All right. We got to get a break in. I know we got a couple phone calls holding.
I can't help it. I mean,
it's your good, the bad, the ugly. It's week 1 of college football. We're breaking it all down.
We all know who the ugly is, though. That's
we'll get it in. LSU, Lou, and Sean, keep holding. We're going to get to you right after the break.
Lord.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We're still looking for problems this morning. So far, we're not finding anything. You be careful on that trip in. Make sure you put extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something does go wrong around you. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Greg lost 92 pounds in 6 months on the plan. A free hormone quiz will tell you if it can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Since 1986, Full Moon Barbecue has been cooking quality meats low and slow over a hickory wood-fired pit. From ribs and wings, brisket, turkey, catfish, and sausage to the best butts in town. If you're planning a holiday or a birthday party, Full Moon has a large banquet room. And Full Moon is ready for your next catering or tailgate. Just call us and we'll take care of everything. 256-713-0070. Full Moon Barbecue on the Parkway next to Costco. The best little pork house in Alabama. Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
The heat is on.
Oh, the heat is on. The heat is on. Before we go back out to the phone lines, let's check in with Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah. 63-0.
Yep. He yesterday back in front of the cameras and everything. And he did talk about Caden Proctor, talked about Caden Proctor's injury and a little bit of the offensive line.
You know, a lot of different things popped up. I think maybe even a question or two has been asked just about the communication and how that had set.
That is the wrong one.
Okay,
that
was crazy too, because I'll let the listeners know before we do that real quick before Scott plays his comment.
Yeah.
What happened? The game got started a few minutes late because the headsets. It wasn't the communication in the helmet. The headsets went out on the sideline for Western Kentucky, which made Nick Sheridan have to come down from the box. He and Cohen Hitzler until they got that resolved, and then they could come back up to the sideline.
Western Kentucky's were out.
Right,
Western Kentucky's was out. They threw a fit because Alabama wouldn't take their headsets off.
Right.
And you could have seen, and the reaction from the Western Kentucky sideline was hilarious because they kept pointing over to the Alabama side, and Kalen DeBoer's like, why do I have to take mine off if it's there?
So they had a meeting.
Yeah. It was pretty good. But here is Coach on Caden Proctor and the offensive line.
You know, Caden's got a shoulder situation there. It's one that we will be able to manage, and so that's a positive. And it was just something as we go through the week that we'll just continue to evaluate. And you know, it probably won't be something early on here we'll be rolling with, but as the week goes on, be something we can continue to evaluate and be hopeful for. When it comes to the offensive line, And this, the way they executed, I give Elijah a lot of credit. Has maybe played just a couple practices early in camp at left tackle, and for the most part was at right tackle. And I think he and Book took some pride in really trying to have a great game there, and kind of rise up in the midst of that adversity. There's the big touchdown to Justice where we pulled both the right side, right guard, right tackle. That was fun to see, because I thought there was some physicality on the front side, and then the pull doing a good job of adapting to what the defense was doing, and the trust that I think exists is probably something that's undervalued. The trust from the first puller to the second puller, and also the second puller to our tailback with Justice carrying the ball. So, that comes through repetition, that comes through talking about it. Protection wise, they got to us early, with this one sack, but for the most part, I think our quarterbacks really felt comfortable back there. There was times where we picked up the protection, and I know Jalen had that explosive run there when we were deep in our own territory. That's, a tribute to the offensive line and our tailback all doing their jobs, Jalen trusting it. And when the seas parted, kind of abort the pass attempt and go take off and use your legs. And that's what I love to see from him on that play.
There you go. A little bit about the offensive line and their performance Saturday.
Well, look, nobody saw it really in the warm-ups until the game started, and then Elijah Pritchett was at left tackle. He had not really worked at left tackle at all since the spring, because, as we know, Caden Proctor was in Iowa all spring. Since Caden got there in June, it had been pretty right tackle fighting with Wilkin Formby. Caden Proctor was slated to start at left tackle, and Formby and Pritchett were going to rotate it right until this happened. And he basically, from what I understand, Coach DeBoer talked about it yesterday. It is a shoulder situation. I think it's a labrum issue. And you heard Coach say yesterday in the Monday press conference that it's going to be manageable. It will be.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to play this week. I would say maybe 2 to 3 weeks. I think they hope to have him back for Georgia. Remember, they have a bye week after Wisconsin. Okay. So, and this is not the same kind of injury, because when Cam Robinson was a freshman against Tennessee, he did an ankle and ended up being the tightrope, but he was back for LSU in a couple weeks. Okay. So this is going to be a manageable situation. He's not having surgery. They would probably have to shoot him up and then strap him up, but he's going to try to play. Okay. That's basically what you heard out of Tuscaloosa this weekend, but I believe it's a labrum issue. It's just a freak thing. And for Pritchett to have to do that, it's on short notice. I thought he did a pretty good job, honestly. Yes, they gave up some pressure early. I thought Formby was solid. I thought Pritchett got better as the game went on. And so, look, this is Pritchett's time to step up, okay? He's had issues off the field. He's had some performance-related issues at times. This is your chance to shine and prove yourself, all right? Because you're going to be the left tackle. And they played a ton of guys. They played the 2s and the 3s. Going back and watching, there's some 3s in there in the fourth quarter. So they played everybody. That's the thing I loved about this. Everybody and their mother play, okay? And that's what you got to start doing. That's the one thing Saban didn't ever do really at Alabama a lot, is play every freaking body, okay? And they rotated a lot of guys on defense as well.
Yep.
So I just really liked their approach. And I thought, even though they had some penalties and they did have a turnover and then almost had 2 more, I still give them an A+. Because 63-0, and they beat a pretty good team. I still think Western Kentucky is a bowl team. I mean, that was a domination. That was just eviscerating a pretty good football team. And I'll just say this: Keon Sabb, SEC Defensive Player, he's a pretty good football player. Caleb, who? What was his name again? What was that song? What's his name again?
Downs.
What's his name again? We're big on this show.
Yeah. What's his name?
What? Who? Sent somebody that this weekend.
Oh.
It's like, wish we had Downs back. I was like, who? Who?
Yeah.
What's his name?
256-576-4977. You want to join the program? Feel free to do so. You sir can. We'll go out there. Let's visit with Sean real fast. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Good, sir. How are you?
Jeff, that's about the over the years, at least once or twice a year, he calls in, griping about coaches running the score up.
Yeah.
He just jealous because he's a Kentucky fan.
And they were pretty impressive. I mean, you know.
They was. No, don't get me wrong. They are, but they I don't think they've ever run the score up on anybody because they don't have the capability. I Googled. I knew they played Southern Miss.
Yes.
But I couldn't remember the scores, so I Googled it, which I kept up. This year, I'm kind of doing a little experiment. I'm keeping up with every score of every SEC team for the year. So I went down the list and I was Googling, all the teams. The only Vanderbilt and Kentucky, when I typed in their names, it did not pull up football. It pulled up Kentucky lottery, Kentucky history. Every other team in the SEC, when you type in, of course, Alabama, Georgia, Missouri, anything, it pulled up Missouri football.
Yeah.
Kentucky and Vanderbilt, the only two that did not type football in there when I typed their first name in.
Well, I'm anxious to see how good they are. They got to win this game Saturday, though. I mean, I've got Kakalaki, the worst team in the league. I mean, I had to fight myself.
Did you put Georgia number 1?
Hell yeah.
And then did you put Texas or Alabama number 2?
Alabama.
And then Texas?
Yes.
Okay.
I agree 100%. That's the way it's the same as it's been the past few years. It's been Georgia, Alabama, and I think we'll know more after week 3 and 4. But
yes,
Go ahead, Shane.
You can't judge anything off of. I mean, I know Western Kentucky was picked to finish second in their division.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't tell nothing off that.
No, I still think they're pretty good. They just kind of it was a buzzsaw they ran into.
They got to get the bugs worked out, and I mean, it's a first year coach. I mean, first year team basically. So, and I watched Caleb. I watched Ohio State play.
Yeah.
Caleb Downs didn't do nothing Saturday.
Who?
Exactly. He didn't do nothing. I watched the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They talked about him during the pregame, and then after that, they never mentioned him.
All right, Sean, thanks for the phone call, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
All right, it's 7:30. We got to get a break in. I know we got more phone calls holding, but we got to slip one in.
Yeah, and when we get back, I'll read everybody my power rankings because I got to do this every week. So there was some changes. And how about them Commodores? Wow.
I know at first I was feeling bad because I thought, oh my God, they're going to blow.
They're going to bandy it.
They're going to find a way to mess this thing up, and Virginia Tech's going to escape with a win, and then Vanderbilt locks it down. They get it in overtime, and I had a friend text me, and he's like, "Man, this Vandy team looks pretty good."
Yeah.
And I know he's an Auburn fan. And I said, "Well, they should because they beat your ass last year. I mean, this is the same team that beat your ass." I said, because he goes, "What?" I said, "Yeah, this is the guy from New Mexico State that ran all over Auburn.
Same quarterback,
and Jerry Kill was the head coach." I said, he's now the offensive analyst. I said, because of the rule changes, he can be on the sidelines and he can coach.
Yeah, and they play Auburn this year.
Is huge. I said, this is huge for Vanderbilt. That was a huge win. 2 wins, really, for Vanderbilt. The NCAA rule change and getting Pavia. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll get to the phone lines.
Yeah, I thought they were going to Vandy.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We're still looking for problems this morning. So far, we're not finding anything. You be careful on that trip in. Make sure you put extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something does go wrong around you. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Greg lost 92 pounds in 6 months on the plan. A free hormone quiz will tell you if it can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
It's time to get ready for game day. That means Alabama football and tailgate. Whether you're tailgating at home or at Bryant-Denny, visit Brooks & Collier for North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers like Big Green Egg, Blaze, Delta Heat, Memphis, and Traeger. Satisfy any palate with our wall of rubs and seasonings. For all your tailgating needs, visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for over 75 years. Roll Tide.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked the reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
I'm on vacation every single day.
All right. 97.7 ESPN, the Zone.
Florida State's been on vacation.
There's a lot of teams that have been on vacation and didn't wake up until, well, still have yet to wake up around the country. But you know what, though? A lot of this is overreaction to week one.
Yeah.
And a lot of it will work itself out.
See, Florida State's already played twice, though.
That is not an overreaction. That one there you can say is not an overreaction. You look at some of the results around college football. The LSU loss to USC. Is that an overreaction? Did LSU's defense improve from a year ago?
I thought they looked better, man. I really did. They just didn't finish the friggin' game. I didn't think they looked that bad. I think they can go on a run here, but they should have won the game, though.
They can't run the ball up front, though.
Well, they ran the ball better once they got Emory in there. They ran the football better in the second half. They had a chance to finish, and then late, even though Nussmeier was good for most of the game, he missed Aaron Anderson wide open in the flat. It would have got him a first down and maybe even another touchdown that late in the ball game where they could have won the game. Like they ended up having to kick a tying field goal. They could have won it maybe 24-20. They would have put a lot of pressure on, SC to have to score a touchdown to win. Maybe they wouldn't have got the stop, but would have changed the tenor of the game. I mean, it was
Texas
just a missed
A&M's
opportunity.
lost to Notre Dame. Is that an overreaction?
That's not a huge shock. Look, I know I picked A&M in a close one, but that's not a huge surprise. I mean, I'm not sure Wegman is really good. Okay, we're gonna find that out,
right.
and that was a tough, hard fought game. Okay, Notre Dame earned that one. That was. I don't think you can overreact about LSU or Texas A&M. Now let me read my power rankings here. I ran my mouth, so I was going to read everybody my damn power rankings. So I gotta go back and I gotta find these because. I mean, like I said, it didn't really change it much at the top at all because I still have Georgia and Alabama at the top of the league just because I think they're the two best teams. And I think they both of them didn't do anything to change my mind. I mean, I got Georgia and Alabama. I still have Texas. They were very, very impressive. Got a shutout. Ole Miss, we've already talked ad nauseum. They could have got. My top 4 didn't change. Here's where everything started changing. Yep. I moved Tennessee up to 5, and they had been 6. I moved Oklahoma from 7 to 6. Oklahoma is 6. Missouri 7. I moved them up. I moved Auburn, up to 8 after they were very impressive. Yeah. Kentucky 9, and then Arkansas 10. And what I did was I dropped A&M to 11, and then LSU to 12 because I thought A&M was a little more impressive. Both of them had chances, but I went ahead and put A&M because I think Notre Dame is better than USC. So I said A&M and then LSU. I moved Vandy from 16 to 13 after that upset of Virginia Tech. You got to move them up.
Right.
And then Mississippi State. And then I had to decide who's 15 and who's 16. I went with Florida 15 and South Carolina 16. I mean, I had this debate with somebody.
With that.
I had somebody telling me South Carolina's the worst team. And at first I disagreed. And I said, well, they found a way to win. But then the more you think about it, Florida played Miami, who looks like a really good
was that
team.
South Carolina final.
Old Dominion was 6-7 last year.
Right.
They did not even win a bowl game. So and Kakalaki was very lucky to survive that game. So I'm going with South Carolina at 16 right now. Now we'll see what happens this week because you already mentioned they play Kentucky, and so we'll see if Carolina is going to play better from week 1 to week 2. There's a lot of improvement, but I've got Carolina at the bottom right now.
By the way, that game is at Kentucky. Mm-hmm. It's at Kroger Field, so Kentucky will be at home, and they are the favorite in that one. All right, let's get back out to the phone lines, 256-576-4977. Brandon is with us. Good morning, Brandon.
Man, y'all were talking about Googling stuff and what showed up, so I Googled Marlboros and Jeff showed up. Just goes that way sometimes.
He doesn't do that, he says.
Good one, Brandon.
Well,
you were in rare form last night watching Florida State if you looked at Brandon's X account.
Oh, it was so bad, dude. I was having such a good time. I told my wife, I said, I'm not going to eat till about Thursday after all that food we went through from Friday to yesterday. I don't know. I don't know if I could fast 40 days like Jesus, but I might can make it 4 or 5. So we'll see what we can do to make up for it. Brett McMurphy dropping bombs last night. Current ACC scoreboard. Teams suing the ACC 0-3. Teams not suing the ACC 15-2.
Oh, that is pretty bad.
That was great. And then R&R Cigars says, since 1976, FSU has started the season 0-2 only 6 times. 3 of those have come under Mike Norvell in the past 5 seasons.
That's very true. I mean, this is year 5 for Norvell. He had 2 good back-to-back seasons, but so far, year 5 has been a huge step back. And I watched the War Chant TV post game, and very professional. Gene Williams and his partner there, they were taking calls. And I mean, this is just for over an hour, and the Noel fans are very upset. And but Gene was not pulling punches either. They don't see a whole lot of answers right now for the Noles.
Well, the guy, I don't know that he's a championship coach, but he's not a 8-4 coach either, I don't think. I think that after what happened to him last year, maybe the team's still reeling a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's what these teams need to stop. You have one good season and we back the Brinks truck up, and then you turn around the next season, it ain't as great as you thought it was going to be. These ADs and people need to learn a little temperament about throwing money around and make somebody show you a long tenured success before you start paying $10 or $11 million. They keep saying it's the market rate. It's only the market rate because you're stupid enough to throw it at them. And of course they're going to take it.
Yeah. Well, Mike Norvell has slowly gotten Florida State out of
and he had a huge rebuild
where they were in.
Yeah.
And the thing is what we asked even a year ago or a year and a half ago, we're starting now to get answers in college football to the biggest question that we asked a year and a half ago, and that is certain teams are going to, one, do what Dabo Swinney is doing, and that is just recruit guys out of the high school level and try to develop them. You're going to have teams that are going to do a nice little mix. They're going to recruit heavily, and they're going to intertwine transfer portal guys within their squad. Or number 3, they're going to go heavy on the transfer portal every year and try to fill gaps. Mike Norvell has gone transfer portal heavy the last 2 years to rely on it. It worked for him last year. It's not working right now.
Sometimes, well, it's like
Agreed.
Coach
Lane
Saban said on
Kiffin-
game day. He said sometimes if you
Yes.
pick the wrong guys, you're bleep out of luck.
Yes, Lane Kiffin has gone extra heavy on the transfer portal. Ohio
Yeah.
State has gone heavy this year. They put all the chips in. There are teams that are showing mixes. We're starting now to see the results of what you do and what happens year after year of going heavy in the transfer portal. It's not working right now for Florida State. It may work by the end of the year, but it's not working right now.
I agree with you. There is something to be said for cohesion of a team and having people together for a long period of time versus just grabbing a bunch of parts and slinging them together and trying to make it work in a short off season. And that was what I liked about Nick Saban. He took guys, but he didn't take tons of guys. He was very judicious about who he took and when he took them and for what reason he took them. And in some cases, you've got to do that, but in some cases, you can sit back. Like right now, if Kirby Smart wants to take somebody, he can be very judicious about who he wants to pick. And it's a good thing that Dabo's calls are going to be scripted and screened before he gets them.
Lord.
And Scott, the Iowa State-Kansas State game in Ireland next year.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting. Iowa State will travel. There'll be a lot of Iowa State fans that'll travel to that one. And, that'll be that's weird. It's going to be a Big 12 open. I mean, it's going to be a Big 12 opener for both teams. So we'll see.
You go get Wes to send you out there to cover it to cheer against them?
No, he's not going to watch
Iowa State.
He
play.
was too busy being happy that his team scored 40 against Illinois State.
I looked down one time and we were going to go into the fourth quarter. We had over 300 yards, close to 400 yards of offense. And I was like, oh.
He kept texting me every time McNamara would throw a touchdown pass. He was like, touchdown pass!
I mean, it's been since 2019, 2018 that we've got a quarterback throw for 4 touchdowns in a game.
I mean, he was lighting it up.
I mean, there's been
Air raid
some
Iowa.
horrendous football programs over the last 5 years that have done that in a game. I mean, anyway, all right, Brandon, thanks for the phone call, bud. Let's get one more in. I know it's 7:45. Let's get to David real fast. Good morning, David.
Hey, David.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, DirecTV let me down. I couldn't watch.
You was caught in that.
So bad.
Man, that's rough.
Yeah.
What'd you do? Did you go to the bar?
No, I kind of watched the GameCast on ESPN.
Did you?
Well, don't these other ones have like 30 days still free where you can sign up these streaming
Well,
services?
one of my buddies,
cancel
he
it?
just dumped DirecTV real fast and signed up for YouTube.
Yeah.
He was
Well, that's probably what I should do if it lasts much longer.
yeah.
Because I'll miss.
I went without the Braves for like half the season. I survived that somehow, but
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you did when I was talking about how good Vanderbilt, because Virginia Tech supposedly had a veteran team coming back.
Yeah, they were supposed to be. They're supposed to be a top echelon team in the ACC. It was a really good win for Vanderbilt, probably their biggest since James Franklin was coaching. To be honest with you, getting Jerry Kill and Diego Pavi and those kids from New Mexico State was big. I'm just telling you.
Yeah. So Auburn caught a break there with losing those guys to Vandy, right? And so doesn't Auburn have to play New Mexico State again?
They have to play. They have to play Vandy. They're actually going to play them again.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but they'll see Diego.
Alabama has to play Vandy too, right?
I believe so. Yes. So.
Yeah, and Auburn plays New Mexico this year, not New Mexico State.
Yeah. The Lobos
they
already
played the
lost.
other one.
Already had a horrendous loss.
Gotcha. Hey, Drew, would you talk a little bit about how Russo played on the defense, and I'll hang up.
Oh, I thought he was a freakazoid. I was trying to video. I went down on the field. I was trying to, get people coming in the locker room, and before I dropped my friggin' phone, I at least got Russo, going to talk to folks because I thought he played a tremendous football game. I mean, he just he played the Wolf spot. They rotated a lot of guys, but he might be the best athlete on the football team. He's
Right.
a redshirt freshman. He was flying around. He and his former high school teammate James Smith, number 23, who's a sophomore defensive lineman. They both got a lot of times Saturday, and they both played really well, I thought. But Russaw, his ability to run, him and Jihad Campbell. Jihad, you can tell he slimmed down a little bit, and Jihad was going sideline to sideline, covering everything. And Deontay Lawson, Keon Saab. There were several guys that really, really caught my eye. But Russaw, he's just one of these dudes that when you have the cone drills and the vertical leap and the 40 for a guy on defense, he's going to test off the charts. He just needs to learn, and that's what he's doing. But, man, that dude has got unlimited potential. He was a true 5-star prospect coming out of Carver Montgomery, and he's going to be, I think, a rising star. Matter of fact, he got in. Keanu Coote didn't get in until the second half. I mean, the two Wolves that played the most in the snaps that mattered that you watched was, of course, Q Robinson. Q-Rob got a sack, and then Quay. Quay played quite a bit.
Let's get a break in, 7:49. Going to wrap up hour one of Talking Ball. Coming up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a wreck reported on Research Park just off Highway 53. 3 vehicles involved. I don't know about injuries yet. And we got one in Limestone County that is an injury type. Black Road and Holt Road. They're getting volunteer units and EMS on the way for that one. Snelling needs an experienced property manager that knows HOA procedures. Snelling, how the area's best companies hire talent. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
It's the dawning of a new age in Tuscaloosa.
I understand what Alabama football is all about. Roll time.
Join the Crimson Tide as the Kalen DuBois era begins. Touchdown! Join us Saturday as the Crimson Tide welcome the USF Bulls to Bryant-Denny Stadium. Our coverage begins at 3 on your home for Alabama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama, located online at universitykia.com.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. Welcome back into the program. 7:52 on a Tuesday morning. We heard it briefly there from Kalen DeBoer.
Yes.
How about just getting an update here real fast from Hugh Freeze on everything that he saw Saturday from Auburn?
Defensively, it's the same. Justin Wilcox is one of the better defensive coordinators.
Well, might help if I just keep playing the right one.
Defensively, there was I mean, I thought the effort was really, really good. I thought they ran to the football. I thought we tackled fairly well. And we were 9 of 14 3-and-outs, and we limited the explosive plays. So I thought all of that was positive. Special teams were really positive. Had a punt return, an explosive punt return, and then had a block punt for a TD. Field position battle we won. Effort was good, and we played a lot of kids on special teams, and so that was really good. And obviously the 7 touchbacks and field goal was efficient. So Towns did a really nice job for us there. Offensively, we started fast and played physical up front. Thought the effort was good there. 16 explosive plays, 9.8 yards a carry. Only had 1 penalty on offense. And just thought that was, and our red zone scoring was really good. So a lot of positives to take from there. Obviously, we have some negatives too that I'm sure you'll ask me about, and we can go over. But it was a good film to watch for our first game. Obviously, some things to clean up and get better on. Biggest thing, 2 turnovers. We can't do that, and we've got to get the ball has to be the priority.
So I know, and Jeff, we alluded to it. I know Tennessee played Chattanooga and Auburn played Alabama A&M. These are games where they both were overmatched. I mean, both teams, Auburn overmatched Alabama A&M, Tennessee overmatched Chattanooga. But you still have to go out and make the plays and execute at a high level.
That's
and
how
still
you
throw
look.
the ball. Yeah, and I thought Auburn looked good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Tennessee looked good. You still have to execute at a high level, and there still can be concern when you play those types of games. And there's still a lot of room for improvement for Auburn and Tennessee and schools like that. I know a lot of people laughed at the SEC making up these scores of like 70 to 60 and all these other
Well, that's
points.
what you're supposed
But
to do, though. They did what they were supposed to do.
Yes, you still have to go out and execute. And I think from an Auburn standpoint, they played a lot of guys and they still executed.
Those freshman receivers, Thompson made a big play. Cam Coleman, he got in the end zone. Malcolm Simmons, all these dudes that they need to step up and make plays, did so. This new wide receiver core looked really good. Thorne looked comfortable. They ran the ball well. Several guys carried the rock. They only gave up 3 points defensively. You heard what Coach Freeze said about the block punt for a touchdown, an explosive punt return. So all 3 phases, Auburn dominated the game, and that's what you're supposed to do. Okay, and they did what they, what they were, what they were expected. What they were expected to look better. They were expected to be explosive because they've spent a lot of time improving the offensive line and the skill people around the quarterback, and it paid off in the first game. Now we'll see how much better they get. They certainly are going to play, some stiff competition coming up.
They got Cal this weekend. That'll be different.
And Cal that'll be interesting. It'll be a much tougher matchup, and we'll see how they look. Now, last year, because of their offensive issues, this was a rock fight close game that they had to, Rivaldo Fairweather had to make a great catch late for Auburn to win it at Berkeley. I think Auburn will win it impressively this time, but we'll see. I mean, Sam Jackson, the 5th, he made an impressive catch for Auburn, maybe the catch of the game. He's another receiver addition he started the game at quarterback for Cal last year. So that's going to be really interesting. But I thought Auburn did what they were supposed to do. They were very impressive.
All right, we are just about done with hour number 1. Coming up to kick off hour 2, Nick Kelly is going to join us. And I know it went unnoticed and it hasn't been talked about. I don't know how people feel about it. But Kalen DeBoer was asked about the Alabama players wearing C on their uniforms for captains.
I haven't, because they probably hadn't seen it and known about it till the game, right? So, but that still hasn't happened since. I think the tradition before, right, was more of the captains at the end of the year. So there was something that you weren't going to do during the season, just kind of something that I've done wherever I've been. We have a unity group, a leadership group, met with them real briefly here this morning, and just kind of going over the whole week, the weekend, anything that they just wanted to add, where they felt we were at with our mindset in particular. But, then you have your captains. And I mentioned before that I thought the team did a great job, and I think it's an honor to be a captain. And
So Alabama had the C's on their jersey. Something new, and some people probably reacted to it a little differently because it's a new addition to an Alabama uniform.
Yeah, I mean, it's just different. I mean, and he does it differently. Coach Saban always had the players vote at the end of the year. He had them vote before the season started.
Yeah.
You know, there's different ways to skin a cat. One of my friends was getting blown up because people were complaining he wasn't wearing a suit.
He wasn't wearing a suit.
Tell me one coach that does. Hello?
Nick Kelly's going to join us next.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Check out VSiN's catalog of original podcasts, daily and weekly programming to keep you in the know when you're on the go. Only at VSIN.com. Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Alabama football opened up the season over the weekend with a big win, 63-0 over Western Kentucky. Next up, a home game against South Florida. The Crimson Tide favored by 30.5. South Florida plus 2,400 on the money line. South Alabama on the road at Ohio this coming Saturday. The home team at 2.5-point underdog. The Bobcats plus 106 on the money line. Auburn's favored by 12.5 at home this coming Saturday against the California Golden Bears. Cal plus 400 on the money line. The Tigers routed Alabama A&M 73-3 last Saturday. That's the VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. I'm Chuck Sanders.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
This hour brought to you by SportsMed Orthopedic and Spine Center. Online at sportsmedalabama.com. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, welcome back. Hour 2, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Big thanks, SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, 256-881-5151. You can experience that SportsMed difference. Give them a call today, sportsmedalabama.com. Find them online. They can help you out. Alabama looked impressive in their 63-0 win over Western Kentucky. The Kalen DeBoer era is officially underway. And now comes the time where you break down everything with game 1. You look ahead to game 2. And game 2 is South Florida coming to town, a team that Alabama had to go toe-to-toe with last year in Tampa. We all know the stuff that happened before the game and the quarterbacks and all that stuff. It was an ongoing thing. But now you look at this Alabama team, and they took a lot of positives to take away and a lot of things you can build from going into week 2.
No question about it. And our next guest does a great job for L.com covering the Alabama Crimson Tide. He had an unbelievable, it was really good video essay and an outstanding piece as well on Kalen DeBoer in his first chapter and taking over for Nick Saban and what it was going to mean for the game on Saturday. And then they go out, and I thought it was as good a first game as you could possibly have, honestly. There were some hiccups. There were some rough patches, but the way the team played, how hard they played, it was really, really high-level stuff. And we're going to talk about it and more with Nick Kelly, who's been kind enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Nick, welcome to the show, and congrats on adding audio to your many talents. But we appreciate you for joining us this morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm well, and hope you guys are well on your end too. And yeah, just good to finally have some football underway. And frankly, I just enjoyed having the Sunday and Monday college football after that. Some compelling games.
Yeah, no question. I mean, we know Alabama and Auburn drive the bus here, but we had to start talking about Florida State to kick off the show just because we did not see this coming, man. Okay.
No, I mean, talk about a team. I mean, Nick Saban picked him to win the ACC this year, so
yeah, he's taking
Nick
heat
Saban
already.
Either, and
yeah,
he's finding out how hard it is to be in the prediction business. It's not easy, but no, Florida State has not started well, and I'm not gonna lie though. No matter what happens this season, I'm kind of intrigued to see what happens in that season opener next year in Tallahassee. I think there's this. I don't think it's a rivalry by any means, but just kind of this weird dynamic between Florida State and Alabama fans now because of all that happened last year at the playoff, and now Alabama fans, I think, enjoying Florida State's lack of success to start this year. And so it's just kind of this interesting dynamic that I think is going to lead to some maybe some tense moments in Tallahassee to start next season, but we got a ways until then.
Yeah, and Saturday, Nick, the Kalen DeBoer era gets underway. A lot of anticipation with that game just because we didn't know a lot of what this Alabama team would look like offensively, scheme-wise, defensively. We found out a lot of answers. Now, we still have a lot of questions probably still because the competition is going to go up and Alabama didn't empty, I don't think, everything out of the tank. But we got a lot of answers as to just what this Alabama team can look like.
Yeah, I mean, you got to see the Kalen DeBoer, Nick Sheridan offense. You got to see the Kane Womack defense. And just, I mean, defensively, I was more impressed by that effort, especially in the first half. Like, I mean, yeah, the offense was scoring on some big plays and things, but like defensively, I thought they were almost better early on, and just the way they were flying around. I mean, Jahad Campbell was kind of a man-possessed type of deal is maybe the best way to put it. Just, I mean, he was flying around, and some good defensive line play. I mean, the front for Alabama, I think, batted 4 passes according to Pro Football Focus, which led the SEC last week. So really strong effort from them. And then you look at just the pass rush. I mean, Quay Russaw looked really good.
Yes, we talked about that.
He might be the answer there. Yeah. Off the edge. I mean, just a lot of good things to like. And of course, Keon Sabb had the 2 interceptions. But no, I just think a lot of good things about that defense to like, especially against a Western Kentucky team that has a reputation for some good offense. Now, not on the level that Alabama is going to face in the SEC among the best teams, but still not just some, absolute cupcake of an offense to face. And so I think defensively, I was maybe more impressed, if that's the way to put it, if we're comparing the two. But offensively, too, they look great. So we're kind of almost nitpicking, splitting hairs kind of thing if we're deciding which group looked better. But the big play is certainly going to be there, and I think there's a lot to be excited about for what Ryan Williams can do with Jalen Milroe. And we didn't see a ton of Jeremy Bernard in terms of catches, partly because I think Jalen only attempted 9 passes, if my memory is correct.
7 to 9, yep.
Yeah. So there's only so many balls to go around, but Jeremy, I believe, played the most of any receiver. So I think we're still going to see a lot of him, a lot of good plays from him. He had I think it was a 17-yard catch. So I think we're, more to come from this offense, but in the little glimpses we got, they looked pretty darn good.
Well, the 17-year-old looked really good. I mean, and I was telling everybody about him all, off season that I felt like he was going to have a huge impact. I got the touchdown right. He ended up with 2. I had him getting 100+ yards, but I had him getting, they only completed 7 passes, at least Milroe. I had him catching 7. He didn't have to, but man, he touched the ball twice and you saw the electricity.
Yeah, that second touchdown I think was more impressive, to be honest with you. I mean, the first one was nice. I mean, he was used that speed to get wide open. Milroe hit him, but he didn't really have to. I mean, other than just be fast and run a good route. I mean, he didn't have to do a ton on that one. I say that as I'm sitting on the couch kind of thing, but but I think that the second one was more impressive in that he not only ran a good route, he also essentially I think he planted and cut to where he got himself free from those guys, broke some tackles, and scored that way. So that one was really impressive to me. And for a freshman to do that, and a 17-year-old freshman to do that, it's pretty darn good.
Some of the answers we still don't know is the offensive line. I mean, because Caden Proctor does not play, and so we don't get to see that entire line as they probably had constructed going into the game.
Yeah, and you asked Coach about that yesterday, Nick.
Yeah, it was one of those things where kind of I don't want to say freaky, but I was watching Caden as it happened, as he was going off. I didn't see the moment he exactly got hurt, but I did see him kind of go over the training staff and just something was up with his upper body and something like his shoulders. Kalen DeBoer talked about, and he just immediately went into the locker room, and I was like, we'll see if that's and keep him out. But then next thing you know, Elijah Pritchett's running with the first team through the walkthroughs and then in warmups, and then Elijah Pritchett's starting. So, yeah, I think something that surprised Kalen DeBoer, surprised the team. And good on Elijah Pritchett for being willing to jump in to a spot where he hasn't really worked much of August. Of course, he was there in the spring, and he had a few moments that weren't great to start. But I think he's serviceable on the left side if Caden has to miss more time. But the good thing is, it doesn't sound like it's some long-term thing for Caden. But at the same time, I think you want to make sure you don't rush him back. So I don't know if you play him this week and maybe you don't even play him Wisconsin, depending on how he's doing, because then you have that open week after that to also continue to allow for healing. And then Georgia, of course, after that. So it'll be interesting to see how they play it. You got to play the long game. I think Pritchett's serviceable in that spot. But yeah, not the way you want to start. And then also it was kind of wild how, a couple snaps in, they literally had 3 backup O linemen because 2 had their helmets pop off in the same play.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that was kind of and I think that was the play too that was that the one where there's the fumble by Milroe.
Right.
And, luckily he recovered it. So, crisis averted. But yeah, it was Chris Kapilovic had his work cut out for him on Saturday.
Well, it was kind of crazy because probably the 2 worst series offensively were the 2 of each, the start of each half, Nick.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes slow starts happen, but obviously, and that's the thing. I mean, I put grades out after the game, and I didn't really knock Alabama a whole lot. I mean, I gave Alabama an A- because they had the turnover on offense, but then there's some people like emailing me or tweeting at me kind of thing, like knocking this, knocking that. It's just like, guys, they beat the team 63-0. Like, yeah, not every single thing was perfect, but like the first game of the season to win 63-0. I mean, look at what happened to Oregon and Idaho. Like, I mean, things cannot go perfectly, and things cannot go that well. This is an FBS opponent, so I think that you take it for what it is. It was a solid first start. No, they didn't have every single perfect play across the board, but a whole lot better than bad.
And I know, and you kind of alluded to it a little bit ago, Jalen Milroe didn't have to throw the ball a lot, didn't need to throw the ball a lot. Did you think he looked comfortable running this offense?
Yeah, I mean, it went pretty well. He didn't seem too panicky. He seemed in control. I mean, poise is a term that comes to mind. And really just knowing when to run, when to force things, when not to. I mean, so I think that's part of his growth is knowing, okay, not waiting, let's just say 5 seconds until he runs. It's like, nope, it's not there. All right, I'm going to try to get some yards with my legs. And also just getting rid of the ball. I mean, there are a lot of big plays open, so I don't know that we saw too much of the short game offense per se, but yeah, I think we started to see a little bit more of that poise, but I am eager to see more of it, the more game action they have, because they're not going to have what was in the first half. They never to drive go more than 3 plays. You're not going to see that too often. So I think we'll get to see a chance more of how he manages the offense moving forward.
And another thing you don't see too much is a 21-play drive for 71 yards, and then they force a turnover on downs. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah. No, you I mean, the defense got its work cut out for it. I mean, if I'm the defense, I'm like, man, can the offense have a drive longer than 3 plays? we're getting tired here. But no, they held strong. Now, I did kind of notice the defense was rotating a lot of guys.
Oh, yeah, playing a ton of guys, especially on the back end.
Yeah, basically, if you had a spot in the 2D depth chart, you played. And this is before, like, quote unquote, the game is in hand. And so that drive, they were rotating a lot of guys still. But then I think there was a timeout right before that fourth down play. Next thing you know, a lot of the quote unquote starters are in the game. And so I think that helped in that fourth down stop as well. But no, I think it was one of those things where, I mean, yeah, it's a good test that way, and they stood tall and a lot of good things that way.
They really did. And now we'll see what happens against USF. This was a game last year. It was a horrendous performance per se, but it really kind of turned Alabama's season around. They figured out who their quarterback was. I think they came together as a squad after this. Golish's team was impressive over Bethune-Cookman 48-3, but I think this Alabama team is completely different. It'll be interesting because that USF team went on to actually win a bowl game and have a winning season. So an intriguing game. And, of course, we have the Nick Saban storyline with him having the field named after him, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, certainly more compelling narratives than maybe you would normally have in a matchup like this. And yeah, to your point, this is not the same Alabama team. Not that it's the same South Florida team, but it is the same staff in terms of, the head coach and who he's got with him. So, and yeah, let's call it like it is. I mean, Golish kind of had Saban's number a little bit. I mean, he was the offensive coordinator for Tennessee the year before when they beat Alabama in Neyland. And granted, I think Heupel was calling the plays, but he was part of that staff that did that. And then now, not that South Florida's offense put up a bunch of points against Alabama, but he had some familiarity with Saban and what it took to play his teams competitively. Now it's a whole new staff, and we'll see if that continues. I'm guessing not. And also, let's be honest, it helps that it's a Bryant Denny, and this team's not going to overlook South Florida like they might have last year. And also, you don't have a guy who would then become a lacrosse player in college starting quarterback. So those things tend to work in your favor. And I think Alabama will be just fine. Of course, they have to play well. They have to respect their opponent, but I'm not too worried about the outcome if you're an Alabama fan. And yeah, a cool moment with Saban Field being honored or being, officially, I guess, opened. We'll see the naming change and all those different spots on the stadium. And so I think it's going to be pretty cool to have him honored. It sounds like he's going to be at most games, even with game day. I mean, the benefits of having private jet access. So it's, he was there, even though he was in College Station earlier that day. So it kind of works out when you got that kind of transportation. And so it sounds like he's going to be there a good bit.
Yeah, it's not like he has to go to the airport and go through TSA and wait in line like everybody else. I mean, he just gets to leave College Station and he's there by 1:00.
Yeah, wouldn't that be something? You're on a plane and, flying American or something, and you look over and there's Coach Saban.
Yeah, sitting in like row 36, seat F.
Well, I did have a good friend. She actually ended up on the plane with Jamar Toombs, the basketball recruit. So she chatted him up a little bit there. She lives in Dallas, Nick. So she did see someone coming.
Oh, very
back.
nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Well, I imagine Nick Saban would be very impatient. I mean, he of course would fly first class if he was flying with the rest of us, but
yeah.
I just am imagining him in the back of the plane waiting for the rest of the plane to get off. Man, even in retirement, I don't think he'd have the patience for that.
Did you get a laugh at his game day comments?
Oh yeah, he's great on game day. I mean, it's fun to hear him a bit more unfiltered than he was able to be when he was a coach.
Yeah. Choose the right portal guys, man.
Yeah. Well, it's key. And you look at, I mean, just to go back to Florida State,
right?
You look at who they got from Alabama. These were not the cream of the crop from the roster, essentially. Like you're looking at guys that were kind of fringe starters that Florida State got from Alabama. Then you look at teams like Ohio State that got a Caleb Downs, got a Julian Sand, who's got a bright future. Then you look at Texas getting Isaiah Bond.
Yeah.
So there's a difference. Just because you quote unquote get an Alabama player, it doesn't mean you're getting a guy who's a blue chip guy.
Yeah. Don't forget Seth McLaughlin either. So
that's true, Seth.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't. He took way. Yeah, he could say he took way too much heat. Okay, I'm trying to be go to bat for him. But yeah, Nick, great work, man. We appreciate the time. Let everybody know how to follow your work over at AL.com.
Yeah, it's in the name, ale.com. Find our work there, and @_Nick Kelly on Twitter.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Nick.
Good stuff.
Have a good one, guys. See you.
Let's take a little break. 256-576-4977. You can join us after the break. More comments from DeBoer and Freeze and others.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a wreck with injuries in Limestone County. This one is on Black Road near Holt Road. They had 2 injuries reported there. And we got one on Research Park southbound. It's going to be around Nick Fitchard. 3 vehicles involved in that one, so it may take a few minutes to get it cleared out of the way. No hose, no mask. You can ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed.
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, managing partner at University Kia, proudly saying Roll Tide and War Eagle. Stop into University Kia today and shop one of the area's largest selection of new Kias, including Fortes, Seltos, Telluride, and Popular Carnival, and fully electric EV6. View all the great specials at universitykia.com and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia you really want, because we want to see you in a University Kia.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Listen weekday afternoons starting at 5 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's perfect. Before we get back out to the phone lines, been checking in with coaches from around the SEC. One we've not heard from yet after their loss to USC is Brian Kelly.
With a fake pounding on the table.
Here's Brian Kelly after the
pounding
loss.
on the table.
After the loss.
And we're sitting here again. We're
the internet.
Talking about the same things. About not finishing when you have an opponent in a position to put them away. But what we're doing on the sideline is feeling like the game's over. And I'm so angry about it that I got to do something about it. I'm not doing a good enough job as a coach. And I got to coach him better, because it's unacceptable for us not to have found a way to win this football game. It's ridiculous.
About as fake as a Southern accent.
Oh,
boy.
It's ridiculous. How about your 0-3 in openers?
0 for the last 5,
Yeah,
thanks to Coach O.
2 of those to Florida State. You've
Yeah.
lost to, Brian Kelly.
Unbelievable.
That's ridiculous. Bulldog Johnny is with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Johnny.
Good morning. How you guys doing this morning?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good.
How great was this weekend, man? It's been so long without football. We had games galore this weekend. It don't matter who you vote, who you pull for. We had some games.
Yes,
yeah,
we did.
It was good. It was good stuff.
Man, I got to tell you, I love how my Bulldogs pulled through.
Yeah, they played great, man.
Alabama did great. Like, handling their opponent nearly 70-0. I tell you, if I'm going to pull for the Bulldogs and it's a winning year, it's not anything like it is a year when Alabama's doing great. That's how you like to have it. Offense, defense, they look fantastic. But I just wanted to get real quick, kind of see what your guys' thoughts were on Georgia and Clemson. What was your takeaway on the game?
Well, I just thought Georgia dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides. They got off to a little bit of a slow start offensively. It was 6-0 at halftime. They were missing ETN, I think, a little bit with the running game, but the passing game got going. Carson Beck's one of the best in the country. They got London Humphreys involved, and he's the transfer from Vanderbilt. It's going to, I think, have a big impact there. They just got to get some guys comfortable. They get Lawson Lucky made some plays. They've still got a deep tight end room, and I think Georgia will be just fine. And I do think Clemson's defense is pretty good. They just basically finally collapsed because their offense couldn't get much traction, but Georgia had a lot to do with that. I mean, Georgia's just got more talent than Clemson. I didn't, except for Antonio Williams, basically, I didn't see any difference makers on Clemson's side. Now, some people think that they are going to be good offensively. We'll see. But I just thought Georgia had the better football team, had the better talent, and I thought they dominated the game. And I had picked Georgia to win by double digits. I thought maybe Clemson would be a little better, and they had some chances in the first half, but when they missed those opportunities, you can't do that against Georgia. You can't get penalties in big situations. You can't drop passes. You can't make those kind of mistakes.
Georgia played a little conservative in the first
half. They did
half.
Probably early, but
I think in the second half
they got into their rhythm in the second half, man.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, it's not like we knew a whole lot about him, but how about Nate Frazier?
Yeah, once they got him in the game, he sparked the running game a little bit there. I thought he looked like he gave him a little bit of juice.
Absolutely. Well, hey, guys, I'm going to hang it up, let someone else talk. It's great to talk to you guys. Y'all keep doing what you're doing. Love listening to you guys every morning. Go Dogs.
Thank you.
Thanks. Let's go out to Jared real fast. Good morning, Jared.
Hey, morning, guys. I think it's obvious Georgia is legit again.
Oh, yeah.
As is obvious. They shut down Clemson. And real quick, just a question before I move to Bama, the boys. There's a big narrative with this whole, Dabo hates the transfer portal and this, that, and the other, and 0 transfer portal guys have started for them. I mean, I think obviously there might be some to say for that, but do you think it's to the extent that everyone's making a big deal about? Isn't there something to kind of get in high school guys and developing them to the next level?
Well, I mean, that's how you're going to win consistently. I've said that about why Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State are good, because they, for the most part, they have homegrown talent. Now Dabo has dabbled in the transfer portal, but they just have not won the sweepstakes for some players that they have pursued.
They're not going to outbid anybody.
He's just not going to be super aggressive
Right.
with it. But I'll just say this, Garrett Riley has been underwhelming since he came over from TCU. I mean, I don't see the growth out of Klubnik. Now, Dabo still thinks he's going to be good. He may be. I mean, because, Georgia's very likely the best team in the country right now. So you play Georgia, you get embarrassed. Now we'll see how they recover. Now, Florida State, they did not get any better from week 1 to week 2. That was the surprise. We will see what happens with Clemson. I think, they've still got everything in front of them, because Georgia was not a conference game. Unlike Florida State, who's already got an 0-2 hole in their own league. Clemson can still salvage some things.
Right.
But, and Maffa's a good back. But I think also where Clemson's kind of been lacking in the last few years is up front on the offensive line. I don't think they've been as physical as they need to be. I thought Peter Woods looked great. I mean, every time I watch Peter Woods play, I want to stick my head in the toilet, because there's no way in hell he should be at Clemson.
Playing for Alabama.
But again, I do think Clemson is a pretty good football team. I'm not ready to give up on them is what I'm saying. I mean, I just think Georgia's really good.
Well, Clemson's next 4 out of the gates is App State, NC State, Stanford, and Florida State.
And we'll find out about NC State this weekend. They didn't look good against Western Carolina, but they're playing Tennessee and Charlotte. So we will know a hell of a lot more about NC State.
Right.
Yeah, and that Clemson defense really hasn't been the same since Venables left either. That's something.
You can say that, but I still think they look like they had some talent now. But again, we'll see how they respond because they did trade punches with UGA in the first half. They just sort of collapsed because, hell, you've got to be able to sustain something offensively and score some points.
And real quick about the Tide, man, I was impressed. I was happy to see the boys look the way they did. Obviously, there's things that you need to clean up. And I'm not going to be too critical. They won 63-0. But, you saw the one fumble Milroe had, and I think he got it back, where it just looked a little bit like last year where, you just got to get rid of that football or get gone. He seemed like he kind of sat back there a little long. But, once again, this first game, I think it's starting to look like an improvement. And, real quick about the defense, it's an interesting new look, obviously, switching to, the 3-3-5. I'm just curious, do you think, Western Kentucky really didn't have a chance to run the ball a whole lot because of the score. But do you think that, with only 3 down linemen and the way they're doing with the DBs, it's going to be a little bit susceptible to the run? Or what y'all think? I'll get off this phone. Y'all have a good one.
All right, thanks, Jared.
Well, I mean, I thought that the DBs looked really good as far as Alabama goes. I thought they were sticky. The thing that I like defensively is there didn't seem to be a lot of busts. Now, they did complete some passes, and we talked about with Nick about that 21-play drive where they gave up some third downs. But I like the fact they played a lot of guys, and they seem to be in position. Turns out after the game, we find out most of the week, Deshaun Jones, the transfer from Wake Forest, had a little bit of a hamstring. So Zabian Brown did start, but I thought Zabian did a very good job. I thought the communication was good. Sabb was showing like Minka Fitzpatrick type, ball skills where he picked off 2. He nearly got a third. But
he is one of those, you talk about bringing guys into the portal. He is one of those guys and an experienced guy.
Yeah. National champion.
Yes. You bring into the portal. You don't just go get guys. You kind of like Nick Saban, you pick and choose. He's one of those pick and choose guys that you pick the right way.
Yeah. That's what you have to do. You have to be, cognizant of who you're bringing in. And they didn't really challenge Damani Jackson, so we didn't see too much of that. As he started at the at one corner, Zabian started at the other. But I just like the fact Mbakwe did a good job. I thought he was physical, and you're going to give up some plays, but I thought they did a really nice job of tackling for the most part. And again, I thought the linebackers, Quay Russaw, Jihad Campbell, Deontay Lawson, they were sideline to sideline. We saw some of Justin Jefferson as well. And then I just like the fact that they played so many guys. I mean, now the way, Coach DeBoer does it, they even honor walk-ons for the walk-on of the week, the scout team players. And those dudes were in the game in the fourth quarter, by the way. If you just go back and watch, especially offensively, as they were running out the clock, they had, a walk-on tight end, walk-on wide receiver, walk-on tackle, so that they on the right-hand side, so the right tackle. So I thought it was a really good performance overall, and I like the potential of the secondary if those young guys keep getting better.
All right, got to get a break in. When we come back, our good friend Jason Caldwell will help us break down Auburn's season opening win against Alabama A&M and look forward to Cal at home this weekend. Jason Caldwell next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just picked up a wreck on the Parkway. Looks like it's going to be just south of Governor's. That one is coming in as an injury type. Got 72 eastbound at I-65 in Athens. It may be slowing things down just a bit. We've got Black Road and Holt Road in Limestone County that's reported as an injury type, and working one on Research Park southbound near Nick Fitchard. Nobody reported hurt there. D&L Refrigeration repairs heating and air conditioning units for homes and businesses. D&L now. 256-652-1207. State license 08091. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at ChapmanCommercialRealty.com.
The Auburn Tigers open up the season cruising over Alabama A&M and Connell Maynor, who, by the way, remember when he joined us last week, said even going in, he knew his team was up against a huge fight, but he wanted to see his kids and see how they reacted and come out of that game without getting anybody hurt. And I think they did that. As for Auburn, we wanted to see how the offensive line would kind of come together, how that young receiving core would play. Could Peyton Thorne make the right decisions? Yes, it was Alabama A&M, but Peyton Thorne needs to make those right decisions. And for the most part, I think you can put checks in a lot of boxes for the Auburn Tigers.
No, you can't. And then, our next guest, this is year 25. I mean, he's been doing this a long time. I've known him for a long time, since I've been in the business. He's a class guy. He does a great job for Auburn 247 / Auburn Undercover. And of course, inside the Auburn Tigers for many, many years. We've talked with him ad nauseum about this Auburn program and the steps they needed to take. And they're well on the way to doing that in recruiting and the way the roster looks in year 2 under Hugh Freeze. And we're going to talk about the 73-3 win by the Auburn Tigers in Jordan-Hare Stadium over Alabama A&M, and looking to this matchup with Cal that to me looks completely different than a year ago. But Jason Caldwell's been kind enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Jason, I hope you had a great Labor Day weekend. You were Drew and Scott. Good morning.
Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Doing good. Now, I remember you've told us this for the last few years, as far as one of the reasons Auburn has struggled is they can't make explosive plays. They haven't made enough of them offensively. We saw that finally on Saturday. Now, it's against an opponent they should handle, but explosiveness is something that this Auburn offense has been needing for a few years.
Yeah, first of all, I've seen Auburn play teams much worse than I think that Alabama A&M team is. I don't think that's a bad football team in terms of an FCS team. I think they'll be solid. I think that offense is going to be pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
But I've seen Auburn teams play teams similar or worse than Alabama A&M and not look like that. And that's the starting point to where you go, look, that's when you start making those types of plays, it shows you that you've increased the talent level, and that shows up wide receiver, offensive line. And I thought that was the first thing that jumped out is like that's a group that has playmakers. And, can you do it consistently? You're not going to score 73 points.
Right.
But the thing you have to be able to do in this league and in college football is make people pay when they give you one-on-one situations. And I was just thinking back to last year, Drew, you're talking about Cal. Cal said, I dare you. I dare you to throw the ball. Go ahead. And they didn't have anybody outside that could really beat anyone. And it became the way that people played Auburn all year, which is, okay, Rivaldo Fairweather can make some plays. We're not worried about the wide receivers, but we're not going to let you run it a ton. And it's really hard when that happens. And, Saturday showed you at least the beginnings of a group that has a chance to make people pay for some one-on-one opportunities.
Yeah, and even last year, we saw Peyton Thorne, when dared to throw the ball, not make right choices, throw the balls to different, wrong spots or at the wrong time.
And there were some mistakes by receivers too.
And Saturday, he looked a little bit more comfortable in making those decisions.
Yeah, it would have helped when you have guys that are able to win one-on-one situations.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's the thing. Last year, I went back and looked, and because I talked to somebody in practice last week. We had a viewing window, and they said, look, we didn't win any one-on-one balls last year. And I said, those 50-50 balls, they didn't win. I said, yeah, and you dropped a bunch of 100-0 balls, too, where the ball, right in your hands. I'm like, just the difference in an offense, when we saw it last night. Now, Florida State couldn't run it. They couldn't do anything. But you also have a couple of drops mixed in that instead of extending drives and giving you a first down, puts you in 3rd and 12 or 3rd and 7. And that changes the entire complexion of an offense. And we saw that last year. And so I think the biggest part of this for Peyton Thorne is that, and Hugh Freeze too, is that they're both now in an offense that fits those guys. I mean, this is what Peyton Thorne grew up doing. And this is back to Hugh Freeze's offense, where he knows. And I thought that maybe the most important play Saturday night was one that probably gets overlooked because it was probably the easiest one. But there was a touchdown, Keandre Lambert-Smith's second touchdown, to where they kind of just run up kind of a rub route and score a touchdown. But it came because they checked at the line of scrimmage. They slid Cam Coleman in a little bit, and they changed what they were doing to a play that got them in a position to score. And that's the difference. That's how you have to be able to do things, is you have to have, Freeze says it all the time, you have to have an answer. What's the answer to what the defense wants you to do, and how do you exploit that? And this is an offense that has the ability to do that for the first time in a long time, in my opinion.
And then defensively, they, as you pointed out, they didn't play Elijah Asante a ton. They didn't play Austin Keys, who's been a little banged up, but they still had good production at the linebacker spot. They've got a lot of young players there. The defensive line, I know they don't maybe have a Marcus Harris yet, but I still think Keldrick Faulk could be that guy. But talk about what we saw defensively out of Auburn that you liked.
Yeah, just a lot of guys. That's the thing. And I think we'll see a much more aggressive Auburn defense moving forward. They played pretty much base the other night. Played without Isaiah Rakes, who's the transfer in interior defensive lineman that I think maybe one of the guys that gives them some of that push. But I think it's just bodies when you look at it. We saw a bunch of different guys playing, trying to stay fresh. I think we'll see more pressure and packages, some of those things moving forward. But I thought Malik Locken, true freshman, showed up and showed like he's a guy that's going to be able to help this team. But you got Keldrick Faulk out there. Jalen McLeod is who he is, and
healthy. Finally,
see more of Kieron Crawford and probably Morris Williams too on the outside. Just a matter of interior. Can they find a playmaker or two to help out inside?
And we saw some young defensive backs grow up though too, and get some good snaps Saturday.
Yeah, no, that's the thing for them. It's kind of like the cast iron skillet. It's seasoning. They got to have some seasoning. That's it. Because you're not going to be as good until those things happen. And so we saw J.C. Hart really was in position. Ball goes through his hands, gives up the one big play that Alabama made him have. He recovered, made a tackle, and they didn't score. And so I thought it was a great experience for them. Keontae Scott only played 14 snaps, I believe. A lot of young guys got some time in the secondary. They'll get more of a chance this week against Cal team that's going to be a little bit more up tempo than they were last year. So it'll be an interesting test for them in week 2.
Well, and of course their starting quarterback was Sam Jackson, who's now at Auburn. He made maybe the catch of the game, 37-yard play. Another guy that's going to be in that wide receiver rotation. But as I said, as you were joining us, it's a much different feel though than going into this game with Cal than going to Berkeley last year.
Yeah. Well, I think. Honestly, I think we saw Florida State dealing with some repercussions of travel last night too. Now, it's not all of it, right? I saw that. I saw it last year from Auburn because I felt it myself making that trip. That it took a couple of weeks to get back to normal. For Auburn, it wasn't so much about the game itself, even though it was a little bit. That game didn't kick off till 10:30 body clock time. And so I thought there was just a different feel all the way around about going out there. But in terms of confidence, Auburn played well in the opener last year against a UMass team, and they scored points and those things. But I still think there was we still don't know what you have. I think you know what you have from a physical talent standpoint with this offense now. As Hugh Freeze said, it's about confidence. Can you go out and have some success early offensively? I think if they do that, then this is a team that could go out and put some points up even against what I think will be a pretty good Cal defense.
Mm-hmm. And now, as you pointed out, for a first ball game, and again, not an SEC caliber opponent, but the recruiting class that Auburn is putting together is as good. Maybe it has a chance to be as good as any they've ever had, and certainly a top 5, maybe a top 3 group overall. Alabama and Auburn may both be in the top 3 in the country. But now the thing to watch is for some of these flips. I noticed on Friday night, Deuce Knight was wearing an Auburn towel. Elijah Melendez was as well. He's already now decommitted from Miami officially. He was in Auburn. Usman Kroma, and then of course the cherry on top, Naheem Offord. Some reports from Tom Loy of 24/7 Sports that he could flip to Auburn. I was even hearing that in the middle of last week that Auburn was making a huge push for him. Committed to Ohio State, top prospect in the state, but those 4 guys right there could make a huge difference for Auburn. And, of course, we know Deuce would be the quarterback in the class, and this has kind of been a different feel. Like usually the classes are built around the quarterback, and the quarterback commits first, but this has been kind of the opposite approach by Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, just kind of waiting to see if and when that one happens. Obviously, he was on campus Saturday.
Right.
Spent some time with Hugh Freeze and the staff. I think he's planning on being back this Saturday, which is probably pretty good news for Auburn. We felt like for the last couple of weeks that it was trending in a really good direction for Auburn, and nothing's changed my mind in that regard. And we'll see potentially this weekend if you get some news out of Deuce. And I think Elijah Melendez is close maybe the next couple of weeks. Naeem Offord, Usman Kroma, we'll see on those guys. I don't know if there's a timetable for them.
Mm-hmm.
The other one is Andrew Babalola, the 5-star offensive
tackle. Yeah.
I think Auburn is in the mix. I think it's Auburn, Michigan right now. And Stanford's still a little bit too, but I mean these are ones where the quarterback could impact the other guys. And you get Deuce Knight on board and doing those things, and it could impact the rest of the class. So yeah, I mean, I think right now, this is a class that's probably top 2 or 3 in the country, and that's what you have to do. If you want to go compete for championships, one class doesn't do it. Having 3 or 4 or 5 in a row doesn't guarantee it, but it sure gives you a lot better opportunity if you can stack some classes together.
And then I've got to ask, because I respect you so much because you do so much legwork in recruiting, but it's looking like to me with what Malcolm Simmons did in game 1, Uno Thompson, and then Cam Coleman, and then what we saw Ryan Williams do for Alabama, that this has got to be maybe the best wide receiver class as a group that come out of the state of Alabama ever that I've ever remember. As it's making an impact on both sides of the state, Jason.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, but I think Bryce Gaines, the guy that's
don't want to disrespect him. I think he's going to be a really good player.
You're exactly right. That's exactly why it became such a big deal. I mean, we all knew Ryan Williams was going to be really good. Cam Coleman was going to be really good. I think Perry's the guy. Malcolm Simmons is probably the guy that was probably slept on as much as anybody from an athleticism standpoint. He's just kind of crazy, freakish. But no, I don't think we have seen, probably will never see a group of wide receivers at an elite level like that were in this class this past year.
Yeah, it was great stuff. And Auburn got 4 of those guys, and they're making big impacts. Well, big game for against Cal Berkeley at Jordan-Hare. They've got the first 5 games in Jordan-Hare Stadium, but a great beginning, 73-3 over Alabama A&M. Read, the Monday morning quarterback, great stuff from Jason, some great thoughts, but really appreciate your time, sir, and let everybody know how to follow you.
Yeah, you can check us out at auburnundercover.com. So a lot of deals going on right now. Check us out if you haven't ever signed up before and looking to kind of give us this is a great time to check us out. So auburnundercover.com, part of the 24/7 network. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our channel. We have all our videos, all those things that go through there. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and all those things at ITAT Jason.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Jason.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Jason Caldwell helping us talk Auburn Tigers. When we come back, tomorrow's headlines today will wrap us all up.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
That wreck on the Parkway is southbound near Governor's. It's coming in as an injury type. At Black Road and Holt Road in Limestone County reported with injuries. Looks like the wreck on 72 eastbound at I-65 in Athens has been moved off into a parking lot. And we got Research Park southbound right around Nick Fitchard. That's a 3-vehicle accident, but it's a no injury. The 8th annual Bernard Blues and Barbecue Fest is coming this weekend next to Ave Maria Grotto at St. Bernard in Coleman. Arts and crafts, live music, great barbecue, a KC cook-off, and a $10,000 giveaway. Captain Nick in the Valley Skywatch Traffic Center.
From heirloom diamonds to contemporary jewels, Loring & Company is the place to find something truly special. Whether shopping for a diamond ring for that once-in-a-lifetime occasion or marking a milestone birthday or personal achievement with a Rolex watch, you'll find just the thing in our edit of the world's most sought-after brands, including David Yurman, Roberto Coin, Marco Bicego, and Fopay. Expect a treasure trove of the world's most unique, even breathtaking earrings, rings, necklaces, and bracelets, making choosing just one piece a challenge in itself. Loring & Company Jewelers on Airport Road.
Tom Luganville here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
You need a lawyer and pick up the phone. I'm attorney Gary Lackey. When you call for a lawyer, where does that phone ring? It might be in a call center somewhere, maybe 100 miles away, but my phone rings in my office.
The Lackey Law Firm.
I'm attorney Justin Lackey. My phone rings in my office too.
So does mine. I'm attorney Jennifer Lackey. And when you've been hurt and need help, we're here. We're the ones who take your call.
And get what you deserve.
You want to talk to your lawyer. You don't want to reach a call center. With the Lackey Law Firm, that never happens.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And this is the most important part. We'll treat you like family, because that's exactly what we are.
The Lackey Law Firm.
And I'll go you one better. If you can't come to us, we'll come to you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4-RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This segment of Talkin' Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We have talked a ton of college football, but there is a baseball note that we do need to throw out there. And I
got to give me a hat, man.
And
I've got to get me a hat.
I texted him yesterday, and I did get a response. I was so happy.
I tweeted about it.
Yeah, our very good friend,
liked it.
Brewer Hicklin, called up from Nashville to Milwaukee. He's already had 2 plate appearances for the Brewers. He's gone 0 for 2, but congratulations to Brewer Hicklin, back up in the majors. Remember, he had that brief stint. He had that brief stint with the Royals.
He did a couple times,
got up there. But remember, he's also having his Homers for Hope campaign, where he was donating money, I think $100 for every home run that he has hit. He's raised almost $10,000, $9,200 for Homers for Hope so far this season.
Yeah, I got to find a Brewers hat, bro. I got to figure this out.
Man. Yes, but again, congratulations to our good friend Brewer Hicklin. He's back up in the
very
majors.
Happy.
Yep.
Yeah, he's grinded, getting it. And this is a good team. He's on a good team.
No,
Okay?
he's on a team that can win the Central.
And now, I mean, and the Royals have turned it around too. But we know he went from the Royals to a hot cup of coffee with Philadelphia. Another good. So he's been with 3 good organizations. Just needs to get this opportunity with the Brewers, and very happy about it.
Yes. So congratulations to Brewer Hicklin. So like I said, I know we had a lot of football.
Braves missed opportunity. They blew 2 1-run games, lost to the Phillies in that series. And
Brian Snitker said after that series that somebody asked him the question, would you like to see Philadelphia in the playoffs? And he said, sure, because I think we'd match up with them. He goes, but then again, at the same time too, if you're asking me that means we're in the playoffs. So I really would like to see Philadelphia
after this weekend.
again.
They've just got to focus on the wild card, man. I just don't think they're going to catch the Phillies. Okay, I don't see the Phillies gagging. They're going to they got to focus on winning this wild card spot, try to get healthy, get Ozzie Albies back. Potentially maybe Austin Riley. We'll see. Keep Money Mike healthy. They've just got to get some guys back out on the diamond, get their lineup set. And Matt Olson's been picking it up. I mean, his production has spiked big time. He's still got a chance to get 30-plus bombs and 100 RBIs. And really a month and a half, that didn't look possible. So he swung the bat much better. They start a series today at home with the Rock. You can't lose to the Rockies. I mean, they had a terrible series up there. You can't blow another series to these clowns. And don't get me wrong. Hey, I love Jordan Beck, okay? I hope he has 2 or 3 hits in the series, but you can't lose to the Rockies.
Oh, you can. Because we're coming for you. We're coming.
Here we go.
We're coming.
Here we go.
We're coming for you. 3.5 games back.
He's not giving up.
3.5 games.
He's like Buford. He's not giving up. Oh, my God. I hadn't heard this song in 10 years.
The Cubs are only 3.5 games
They're
back.
hanging.
Braves.
They're hanging
In there. They're not going to win the Central. We mentioned the Brewers. Brewers are 10 games up over the Cubs. Braves 7 games back of the Phillies. They're only a half a game up on the New York Mets.
The Mets keep pushing, which I hate. The Mets. They beat the Red Sox. I hate those MFers.
Well,
I didn't say it. Come on. Oh, man.
Oh, man. 256-576-4977. Just a little bit of time left here on the Tuesday edition show. We mentioned we went through a lot of college football conversation.
Yep.
Here on a Tuesday. Lot to look forward to this coming weekend in college football. I don't know if the games will be as good, but
I'm just glad to have it back. I mean, and I'm
Texas
intrigued.
A&M, though, dealing with a
injury.
They lost. They're running. They had some camp injuries.
Ruben Owens.
Now they lose their starting center
ACL
to an ACL injury. So,
and look, I mean, Alabama had a big injury at left tackle, which they don't have a lot of experience at tackle. So we'll see how long Caden Proctor is out. And so that was a big first injury for the Tide at a position they really didn't need one.
All right, so your SEC lines for this weekend: Texas is a 6-point favorite at Michigan. Oklahoma State 9-point favorite hosting Arkansas. Tennessee is a 7-point favorite taking on NC State in Charlotte.
Yeah,
that'll be a little tougher. South Carolina, Kentucky 8.5 points at home. Alabama is a 31-point favorite over UCF. Missouri 34 over Buffalo. We'll run more of it down as the week goes along. See ya.